Hey guys, Vice Bump here, bringing you this 11.2 Frost rework video. Official patch notes are out and the Frost DK has received so many changes. It's like a proper rework where we have a lot of talents that have been removed, added and changed, but also like the core aspect of the spec has kind of changed a little bit. So there's a lot to digest and discuss. We also talk a little bit about how we're looking at 11.2, how powerful we're going to be, that kind of stuff based on what we know at this moment. Anyway, we're going to jump straight into it by having a look at what has gone, because there's like a lot of things that have been removed. First of all, Abomination Limb is gone. They simply removed that spell. That's a mixed feeling thing, because yeah, it was quite nice to have it in specific circumstances where you can like grip multiple mobs. Yeah, it's a reduction in our utility, and there's really not that much that was done to kind of bring us back up from that. So I don't know. We did get a bit of a shorter death grip cooldown, which is quite nice, but that's overall kind of a bad change, I think. And the Holy Ground is gone, so that was when Death and Decay. When you use that, you got a 5% haste buff, no longer there. And I will talk about this later, but like Death and Decay is just no longer a button for Frost DKs, which is actually pretty cool. We have Absolute Zero is gone. That's now just baked into the standard Frostwind Fury, which is nice. So you don't need to spend 2 talent points to actually get that functionality. We have that Chill Streak, and all those Chill Streak talents are gone. So Chill Streak, Enduring Chill, and Piercing Chill. I think it's kind of fine. We didn't really play that, and it was kind of an annoying spell anyway. I think the main issue was that when you used it on a target and the target died when the Chill Streak was in the air, it would just go away. So even with a plus, you throw out Chill Streak and then it would just not get full value most of the time, which was pretty annoying. So I don't really care that that's gone, to be honest. Cold Heart is gone, and this is a bit of an old one. We used to be a legendary back in Legion, and Holy had it as well, but we haven't played it for ages. And it kind of bloated up our cooldowns anyway, so not too big of a loss there, to be honest. We have that Frostwhelp's Aid is gone, so this was when you got Mastery, when you used Pillar, and it sent this Whelp out. This is actually quite nice, because that would ninja pull a lot if you were not careful, so you don't need to worry about that anymore. And the effect has kind of been baked into a new talent called Frozen Dominion that gives you that Mastery buff. That's overall a really nice change. Horn of Winter is gone. I don't know, mixed feelings there. Horn of Winter was a bit annoying to press because his cost of GCD gave some resources. So it was mainly played with Breath to kind of keep it going. I'll talk about this, but Empowering Weapon has been significantly changed and kind of take that purpose now, or like that role in the rotation. So that's pretty nice. I didn't like Horn of Winter anyway, so good riddance in a sense. Ice Cap is gone. That's just default into Pillar. So Ice Cap used to lower it from 1 minute to 45 seconds. It's just now 45 seconds. Nice. Improved Frost Strike is gone. That's gone into a new talent, which now improves both Frost Strike damage and Glacial Dance damage. Nice. It gives you some more value to that button, and it kind of helps you buff your entire damage kit, right? Improved Obliterate is gone. That now comes into a talent called Frost Reaper. No, sorry, this one, Frost Reaper, yeah. So yeah, you get the Oblit damage and then an extra effect that kind of triggers of your Frost Strikes, so you can kind of explode on 2 targets. It's pretty cool. We have Improved Rhyme is gone, but that's now been baked into this Northwind's talents that has some extra effects. And then we have that Shattered Frost is gone, and now it's called Frostbane instead. This essentially means that you don't need to tap target Frost Strike in AoE, which is also pretty nice. You might notice a theme here, so they removed a lot of talents, but they kind of baked those into new ones and empowered them. So like lots of things they did remove got added into new talents with more effects. So like we got a prune talent tree where each talent point ends up doing a bit more, which is like nice. Alright, so new talents. Loads of these ones as well. So Unholy Momentum, this replaces the old Unholy Ground. It just gives you a flat 2% haste. Yeah, simple, easy. We have Frostbound's Will. It it's over here. So when you consume Rhyme, it reduces the cooldown empowering weapon. This is actually quite nice. And it also gives you more value to Rhyme. There's a lot of new talents, by the way, that give value to Rhyme. So that's like a new theme as well. That Rhyme is actually coming back as a powerful button to press. Last tier, that really wasn't the case. And we could ignore Rhyme a lot of time. But now it's kind of back in the menu. Overflow, as we talked about. This is kind of like improved Fresh Strike, but better. We have Ice Onslaught. This is pretty cool. This is like a whole new talent. Essentially, whenever you use Frost Strike and Glacial Advance, it increases both the cost and power of your next Frost Strike and Glacial Advance. And it keeps going until you get this Runic Empowerment proc, which is when you get this free rune, right? It kind of means that overall, your Frost Strike and Glacial Advance deal more damage, but cost more resources. It's kind of like a nice talent if you kind of overflowing resources. This helps you convert those into damage in a more efficient way. That's pretty cool. Frostbane. This is new Shattered Frost. Essentially, AoE, whenever you use Glacial Advance on anything with Raise Strike stacks, it has a probability to make your next Frost Strike end up being this really powerful AoE button. And this procs quite a lot in AoE, because whenever you consume Killing Machine, you get these Glacial Advances, and then you can then convert those into Frost Strike. And it has like a similar purpose where Frost Strike ends up being like an AoE button, which is pretty cool. We have Killing Streak. This is a new one. There used to be Arctic Assault over here, but Arctic Assault is now much further up in the tree. This means that you can essentially consume double killing machines to get some extra damage, as well as a haste proc. It helps us manage a large amount of like killing machine pressure. Previously, we had to spend so many runes to consume them, but now we can do it more efficiently. Even if though we lose out a bit of damage, because like 2 killing machine obliterate is better than 1 that consumes 2 stacks. But it also synergizes well with other talents that we're going to talk about. So it's like it makes it more efficient, and it makes our rotation flow a bit better. We have North Winds over here. This is one like improved Rhyme, but now with also an effect for Howling Blast. Also does like full damage on a second target. Currently it's like full damage on a first target, and you have this like square root scaling on other targets, but this kind of makes it really good in 2-target cleave, which is pretty cool. We have Frost Reaper. Talked about this as well. There's like improved obliterate, but with an extra effect. Howling Blades. This is pretty cool. So Rhyme powered Howling Blast does some more damage, but importantly, it also has the chance to give killing machine. So this kind of injects more killing machines into the rotation. Cool. And then finally, Frozen Dominion. This is really impactful. Essentially, you replace Remorse Winter, and then you just put it on Pillar Frost. So you don't need to press it, just gets cast automatically. And an empowered version gives you mastery, lasts for longer, which is pretty chill. So like there's so many new talents there. Many of them are like old ones in disguise, with just a small added effect. But I think everything here kind of makes sense in the Frost toolkit, which I love. Alright. We also have some change talents, which I think we need to discuss before we kind of have an overview, talk about what this all means in practice. First of all, Breath of Sindragosa has been properly reworked. This is such a big one. Like, you guys that hated old Breath, this new Breath is, in my opinion, amazing. You pay 60 runic power, you get it for 8 seconds, and then it gets extended with Rhyme and Killing Machines. So it's no longer extending with Frost or runic power, and it doesn't drain your runic power continuously. Instead, it just fits in naturally with your rotation, because you want to consume Killing Machine and Rhyme anyway, and it's just kind of empowers based off that. And it's like really good synergy with Obliteration as well, because you're going to generate lots of Killing Machine procs, which is going to extend your breath, which is really cool. Also nice synergy with Killing Streak, because you get double consumption, which gives you double the extension of breath. Super, super cool. Alright, I love this. And this is much more about, well, we have Frost Death Knight with a core rotation. This just empowers that, instead of just completely overriding it and makes you ignore half of the things you usually press. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Also, Empowered Reweapon is now completely different. It now is an active unused that does like some AoE damage on your target, and then gives you Killing Machine and gives you some runic power. This is super nice. This is like, injecting lots of Killing Machines on a very structured and, manual way. So you can very much decide when you want to get some Killing Machines. Also, it works nice with Obliteration, because we use it during Obliteration. You get a free Obliterate or Frost Scythe. This just means that we have a much more agency of when we starve versus not starve, and it means that we also convert a lot more obliterate into kill machine obliterate, which is nice. Whew. Mate, there's so many nice things, right? Another one, Frost Scythe. This is a big one. This is now no cooldown, 2 runes, and essentially it's like an AoE obliterate. In pretty much all scenarios, in single target we're gonna hit obliterate. In AoE we're gonna hit Frost Scythe. And Frost Scythe is just like obliterate, but AoE. Simple as that. They kind of got around issues previously where like Frost Scythe would end up being better in single target as well by making only crit for 4 times when it comes to use Kid Machine. And this means that in all circumstances, it's like 1 target will hit obliterate, 2 plus, it's Frost Scythe, which is also super nice. Yeah. There's also, like, you guys, there's no definite K. There's no definite K cleave anymore. Cleaving strikes now just increases Frost Scythe damage when you have Remorses running. It's so nice. Like, I felt like previous Frost was a bit Frankenstein with lots of these weird things like obliterate cleave. Sure, it felt satisfying, but it didn't really fit into the toolkit. But now it's just super nice. Same thing with Glacial Advance. It's now just baseline. So you get this nice duality where single target is like Frost Strike and obliterate. AoE, it's Glacial Advance and Frost Scythe. Right, sorry. Yeah, that makes sense. Love it. Mithril Post and Wasters now also works on Frost Scythe. This is, by the way, one thing. Two-hander Frost is very much back. Like, it is the best build by far. They made a lot of different changes that all kind of helped improve how good two-hander is. I think mainly, one is that they injected more natural killing machines in the rotation. Both Empower Rune Weapon and this Howling Blades means that we just get more killing machines. So we're not at a large deficit as previously because we're not dual wielding. And then also a dual wield build that run like Shattering Blade, which is much worse. And that means that obliterate, two-hander, breath is just the best build both in sync target and AoE, which is super cool and nice. Final change I want to bring up is for Deathbringer. Exterminate can no longer prop Reaper's Mark off itself. Really nice change. It means that Deathbringer is no longer this RNG fiesta where you sometimes would get like insane DPS just because it kept proccing off itself multiple times in a row. Doesn't happen. It also means that Deathbringer has been nerfed. They did buff it when they removed that effect, but it's not enough to kind of bring it back. Whew. All right, so those are like the core. There's been more changes and like tuning, but I think that's the main bits. Overall, right, how does Frost play? What's the vibe? It's very much all obliteration with some really cool effects. Like there's a manual killing machine generation and breath that just feels really nice to use and really cool. We also have Rider being like a properly good build. It does play a bit more, does play a bit slowly compared to like dual wield builds, but still, Rider two-handed breath is the best build at this point in time, and it's like super good. If you like the buff there to this build is insane. I just took my own character. It's not like itemized to Frost, but like just going from live until to 11.2 is like I think it was 20% buff, more than that for my character. It's really big. Obviously it depends on your build and how much stats you have, but that's like order of magnitude. So I think Frost is looking really powerful. And playing Rider is super nice because we got Depth Charge. Love it. And then yeah. Oh, it's a banger. It is a proper banger. And maybe we could just take a look because like how does this actually play in reality? It is a bit laggy here on the PTR course. But essentially what you do when you do AoE is you're going to generate some killing machines with a primary weapon. You're going to enter into your breath window with Pillar as well. And then you're just going to start weaving with Scythes, Glacial Advances, and Rhyme Procs. That's the kind of vibe we're going for here. Let's see if I can actually do this. Oops. Hang on. There we go. So you can see here when I'm doing my rotation, if I end up with low runes, I can just use my primary weapon to get a free scythe in my window. It's super laggy here, so it's not the easiest. But like it just feels right to play. This feels natural. You know, I don't have any runic power. I can just use my Empire weapon to get the field free killing machine, that kind of thing. I'm gonna be prioritizing spending my runic power over like naked frost dive, that kind of thing. It's really nice. I think one change as well, which I forgot to mention here. Rhyme procs no longer trigger off killing machine of obliterate and frost dive. They trigger off frost strike and glacial advance. And that's actually a really cool change. It means that if you get a Rhyme proc, you can just prioritize that before you hit a Frost Strike or Glacial Advance. And you don't get this like competing interaction where you had like a Rhyme proc and Killing Machine. And using the Killing Machine might mean that you override the Rhyme proc. That can never happen anymore, which is, I love it. It's super nice. It means that you have this more natural kind of priority where, okay, I'm going to spend my Rhyme proc and then I can use my Runic power. And it doesn't feel bad at overcap. So anyway, mate, it's a cool one. I like New Frost. I can't wait to play it on the new servers. And it's also another benefit that Frost actually has a similar stat kind of distribution compared to Unholy. Like itemized in a very similar way, which means that it's going to be super easy to swap back and forth. Depending on the boss, you don't need to do as previously where like Frost loved crit and you need a lot of it. And then Unholy hated it. Unholy now actually likes crit. And Frost doesn't need as much of it. So you can, and both of them are two-hander. So nice. Super cool. All right. That's the new Frost. That's the Frost rework. I'm a big fan. Let's see how it plays out in the end. Leave a comment down below. What do you guys think? Are you excited about the new breath? Two-hander Frost. What's the vibe? You know, upvote, downvote, consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.